Are you a woman of faith who is struggling to navigate your current season of life? Do you feel like life is just happening to you instead of for you? My name is Jill Pack. I'm a certified life coach and a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I want you to know that no matter your season or circumstance, it is possible to create a more joyful life. And I would love to show you how. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, friends. Welcome to the Seasons of Joy podcast. This is episode number 32, entitled A Conversation with Jill Johnson. I am so excited to share this conversation with you today. Jill is different from all the other guests that I've had up to this point because she is not a life coach. That is why I'm so excited to share this conversation with you. She is a quilt artist from the beautiful mountains of Idaho. She has a passion for changing how people think of quilting. And I also love how she has embraced her mid-season of life by creating her own business at the age of 51. She truly is an inspiration and an example of what is possible.
Hi, I am Jill Johnson. I live in the mountains of Idaho near a ski resort, Sun Valley. I am a third generation potato farmer family. And I didn't think I was marrying a potato farmer, but my dad coerced my husband to be into being a farmer. So now we grow seed potatoes near Sun Valley, Idaho.
Okay.
And I have 4 kids. I have 5 beautiful grandbabies that are just the light of my life. I had no idea that they could be this much fun.
I remember people saying, "Oh, being a grandma is so much fun." And I'll be like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
are one.
Yeah, you don't get it until you get it. And I think what's so it's just I find so funny is they think I am just the coolest person ever. Where your kids, like when you go through the teenage and they're like, "Oh, mom, oh,"
Yeah.
my grandkids have not. They just light up when I come. And
Yes.
anyway, so it's super fun. And
The ego boost. Just go
yeah,
visit your grandkids, right?
yeah. It's a
I
total
love it.
ego boost for
I
sure.
love it. So it was your dad convinced your husband
Right,
to be
right.
a
Yeah.
potato farmer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought I was destined for bigger things. And anyway, would
Yeah.
not trade it for anything.
Yeah.
Idaho, I love it here, and
Wow.
farm life and small town.
Yeah.
Doesn't get much better than that. So
Yeah. So what town outside Sun Valley?
I actually live in the town of Bellevue, so I'm about
Okay.
20 minutes from Sun Valley. But we
Okay.
have, winters here. Winter can be very long, can last from October till sometimes even into May. And so, but
Mhm.
I love the snow and I love the season changes. And so, I love
Yeah,
it
it's
here.
beautiful up there. It's beautiful up
Yeah,
there. So all
yeah,
your
yeah.
kids are grown?
They are. Yes.
Okay. What are
Yep.
their ages? Where are they?
So my oldest is 33, and then she's my oldest daughter, and then I have another daughter that is 31, and they're the ones with the babies. My oldest has 2, my second daughter has 3, and then I have a son that is 29. I have to think about where they are.
Okay. Yep.
And
Yep.
he lives here in the valley with his girlfriend, and then my youngest is 25, and he just got married this year in June. And
Okay.
they also live here. And my son, my youngest, graduated with an ag science degree and came back to the family farm.
Okay, that's so
So
fun.
yeah.
Yeah, our kids are very similar ages. So Jill and I are really in the pretty much the same
Yeah,
season of life.
right.
More grandkids, but I'm trying to convince my kids to have more, but no, not really. I just keep my mouth quiet, and
Yep, yep,
when they come, they come.
yep, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. So, in our conversation before I hit record, we talked about Jill's business, and I was introduced to Jill through a mutual friend, a business coach, really.
Yeah.
Brittany Schroeder, and she kind of got us connected. And so I would love for you, Jill, to just tell the listeners when you started your business, what your business is,
Okay.
and just why you decided to, all the fun stuff.
Yeah. So I've always loved creativity, and when the kids were around, I didn't have a lot of opportunities to do that. I loved interior design. I loved making things, but I really didn't get into sewing. My mom was a seamstress. She made clothing and was a wonderful seamstress. So if I ever needed anything sewn, I would just give it to her. So, and
Awesome.
I had no desire to learn to sew. And then I think I was about, I don't know, in my 40s, mid 40s. And I had a friend who had signed up locally to take a quilting class. And we were having lunch and she was telling me about this quilting class. And I was like, oh, that's great for you. And she said, you should come and help me pick out fabric because you have a really good eye. And I'm like, okay, I can help you pick out fabric. So we're in this fabric store and I'm helping her and I'm like, oh, this is cute. This is cute. And she's like, you should take this class with me. And I'm like, I do not know. I don't have time. The kids were still at home. I was working full time. Like, I do not have time for quilting. Like, no, I would hate it. Like, no. And then lo and behold, I walk out of the store, signed up for the class, and with a bag full of fabric. And I'm
Yeah,
like, what am I doing? This is the craziest thing. And
it's a big investment too,
yeah,
that bag of fabric.
yes. And so I'm like, okay, this is another, I can't say no. And anyway, so we ended up taking the class. I fell in love. I mean, in love. And then I was like, but I want to turn it upside down. Like I want to do, I like a lot more modern. I like to change the pattern up. I very rarely make a pattern and make it exactly like what it is or whatever. And so I just started just really letting myself go. And it was such a good avenue for me to express some of the creativity and just, it's very therapeutic for me, like just
Mhm.
sitting and sewing. And then I think it almost became kind of an obsession. I just
Yeah.
loved it so much. And then in 2018, I got the opportunity to buy what is called a long arm quilting machine. So it's
Mhm.
a huge machine with a big 14-foot table. And after you've pieced the top of your quilt, that's how you put it together. So you have a backing and the top, and then batting in between. And this machine, mine is all computerized. And then you can quilt. I have 3,000 patterns that you could
Oh,
quilt any
wow.
kind of design you want on the top.
Yeah.
And I got the opportunity to, and they're kind of expensive. And I saw that my friend was selling hers, and I just happened to mention it to my husband. I was like, wow, wouldn't that be fun to have that? Kind of like, oh, we'd never do that. And he was like, why don't you get it? And I was like, you're serious? Okay. And then as he was like, you know, you love it, do it. And so I looked at it and we just kind of talked it over. And I'm like, maybe I want to do this as a business. Like, I really think that would be fun. And he was like, you do it, do whatever you want. You
Yeah.
can have it just as a hobby, just. And so it was really my driving force that was like, no, I want to do this as a business. I want to design quilts. I want to design art and work with artists. And so I decided in 2018 I was going to launch a business. And on my birthday in 2019, when I turned 51,
Awesome.
I launched a business. And
I love
it's
it.
really easy to remember because I know
Yeah.
I came out,
Birthday.
on my birthday in February, and I was off and running from there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
I love it. So I want to go back. What was it that you fell in love with when you said, I just fell in love with it right away? Can you think of like what was that thing that
I
You model
yeah,
it?
I loved the I did a lot. I sew curves now, but it's like straight line sewing. It's a lot of angles, and the designs were so the ones I was doing were very minimalistic and
Mhm.
geometric, and the medium. I loved the fabric. I do I've my taste your tastes change all the time, and I do a lot more just more with solid fabrics. I don't quilt a lot with prints anymore. But there's, the world is wide open
Yeah,
with
yeah.
fabric, but I just loved the medium, I guess, and what you could turn it into. It's so funny. You buy fabric, you cut it up, you sew it, then you cut it up again, sew it back
Sew it
together.
again. I know, it makes no sense. I'm a little
Yeah,
bit of a quilter, so I know I can speak quilt,
yeah, yeah.
not anywhere where you are, but I would agree
Um,
that it's
Yeah.
therapeutic.
And then just anything I didn't know how to do, I would then YouTube was my friend and learn how to do different kinds of techniques and different
Yeah.
blocks. And then, I would take certain, patterns and be like, yeah, but what if I, turn this or change this and I do design some of my own patterns now. I
Yeah.
haven't sold patterns, but um anyway, and then I love home decor, and so I've kind of graduated into doing more besides quilts. I do pillows and wall hangings and different things, and working with interior designers to incorporate quilted elements
Oh,
into
I love it.
new
I
homes.
was I was looking on your Instagram at all your fun things that you make, the pillows and the yeah, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. So
Yeah.
at 51, you
Hmm.
launched this business, and what is your business model? Like what is it that you do?
Oh, wow. And I think it's changed even over the 5 years that I've been doing it. Like at first I felt like I wanted to do everything, and just and so I was kind of a little bit scattered. Like I did the long arm quilting for other people, and then I dabbled in make bag making, and I still kind of have a little bit of that. Like I'm like thinking, okay, I'm 50, like I don't have a lot of years. That sounds bad, but I'm like, I want to do it all, and
Yes, I would
so
miss out.
yeah, and so I guess, but I've kind of honed in and really understood what I want, and I'm really into kind of paying attention and devoting more time for my own personal creativity, which then I can design things that come more from me instead of buying a quilt pattern and making a quilt from someone else's pattern, which I'm not above doing at
Right.
all. But
Yeah.
the part of designing and see what I can make happen. Another thing that I find really fun to do is I love to go to obscure fabric stores or use fabrics that aren't necessarily used in quilting all the time. Maybe some canvas or in like
Uh,
upholstery fabric or just found fabric, anything, or thrifted stuff, and then make
yeah.
that into something that's unexpected. I put some leather pieces into some of my stuff, and it's really fun kind of
Yeah.
incorporating different mediums. And so it's not just the traditional cotton that would maybe necessarily go into a quilt.
Yeah. I love that. So, do you sell your items? Are they for
I
sale
do.
or
I
okay.
do, and then I had a an online store for a while, and it was just was a lot. So I do more commission pieces now, and
Okay.
then I do small batch kind of a couple times a year, and I'll make, small batches of bags or wall hangings or
Okay.
pillows, and
And so
then like I'll open up, and I kind of almost think of it as like an online pop-up shop. And so
yeah,
once I
yeah.
get a few things
Then
done, then I put them up online, or I take them to my friends and sell them that way. And then I commission pieces for um, people or interior designers, and then design something that will go. in a room or whatever they're
Okay.
working towards. So
Yes. Oh, I love it. So
yeah.
did you see when you launched your business, did you see this kind of evolved over time where you are now? Would you
Yeah.
say?
Yeah. I
Okay.
started out with the just long arm quilting, and people would send me quilt tops and then I would quilt them for them. And I still do that. It's just not where I'm taking my business now. I mean, I
Yeah.
still do that a lot. I mean, that's kind of the bread and butter. And I
Yeah.
do enjoy that. But I was finding that that wasn't fueling my passion for what I was wanting to go for.
Yeah.
And I needed more of the creativity end of things and pushing myself into other realms, like the design world. I didn't really know that. And it's still
Yeah.
new and it's still scary, and trying to reach out to designers and people like that I could, and then figuring out this was kind of is still a struggle, is like telling them what I can do for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's visually it's hard for people to understand that I could take a piece of fabric or anything. I found these old wool blankets from the army surplus store, and I was like, gosh, could I quilt those? And I quilted them and made these really cool headboards and pillows, and they're wool and really chunky, and it was just so fun to put
Oh,
some pieces of leather on them. And so just trying to kind of incorporate quilting in a new and fun way.
yeah. Oh, that
Yeah.
sounds so cool. So, um, what was your biggest, like, you decide you love quilting. What was it about starting a business at 51 that excited you?
I think just the possibility of what I could do with it,
Mhm.
because in my realm, or what I was hearing is like quilting is fun, but you could never turn it into a business because of the cost of materials and the hours that you put into it.
Mhm.
And I'm like, well, maybe, but maybe there's a market out there that understands or that craves handmade goods. Like,
Mhm.
yes, if you're trying to buy a quilt, and you want to pay Target prices, you know, or any kind of big box store,
Mhm.
I'm not your girl. Like,
Yeah.
mine is going to be handmade, hand cut, hand sewn, like from every step. I'm going to be touching the fabric and doing everything with it. Whereas if you want to go get a $200 quilt, then you just better go to Target. um, but there's something about it being
Right.
made by an
Yeah. Yeah.
artisan.
If you want
And
handmade.
yeah, yeah. And so I really focused in
Yeah.
on that niche and went that way rather than trying to mass produce, because I can't
Yeah.
we just can't compete with that kind of in that
Yeah.
kind of market.
Yeah.
And nor is that my
Yeah.
business model anyway. Take a lot of pride and also making sure that it is well made. It will stand the test of time. Like, quilts are a legacy. And so even though you haven't been the one that's made it, if I've made it for someone else, it is something that can be and will be passed down because they're made to be
Yeah.
used, worn, washed, loved,
Yeah.
snuggled with.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and in that regard, you'll have it for years and years and years.
Yeah. With that idea that it was handmade and that it was,
Right.
custom, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just is
Yeah.
unique, and I love
Yeah.
that, and that feels more aligned with, yeah, with what you were looking for in your
Yeah,
business.
but I think I had to learn that in the first couple of years, because like I said, like I would just say yes, yes, I can make
Yeah,
that, and
I'll
yes,
do
and then
all
I
of it.
would get worried that I was charging too much, and not make very much money was not very fun either. You have to find the right market and you have to be patient
Yes.
for that, but it
Yeah,
is out there. And
yeah,
then just kind of slowing down. And I think that's the beauty of starting the business in the stage of life that I am in. I'm not
mhm,
trying to put food on the table with my art. And I understand the privilege that I have of it not being a pressure to feed myself and clothe
Right.
myself with my art business. And I've been able to give it a chance to grow and to evolve. And so I understand that I think that's the beauty of starting a business in this season of life. I can do that, and it can be a little less pressure off.
Yeah.
Um, in turn, though, I feel like I put pressure on myself to really grow the business.
Mhm. Mhm.
I wanted to grow fast now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I'm thinking, gosh, in 10 years, am I gonna feel like doing this? But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, you just enjoy the process, right? You
right,
just
right.
enjoy the process.
Yeah.
So when you decided to start a business, like, did you have reservations about starting a business, or was it like
Oh, yeah, it was scary. And just
uh-huh.
learning, so I had someone help me make a logo and help me with my website. It was a friend of mine, her daughter helped me. And I mean, that was invaluable. And then getting savvy with, I'm mostly on Instagram, and
Mhm.
I don't really venture out much in the other. I post a few things on Facebook, but I never really have taken the time to master that platform.
Yeah.
And just figuring out, you don't have to, at least for me, and you can run your business however you want, but you
Mhm.
don't have to master all the social medias.
Right.
And I picked Instagram because it is kind of a visual market, and it was very
Mhm.
easy to visually get across what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
But Instagram's kind of changed a little bit, and so in the last year I've really focused more on an email market, just
Mhm.
making sure that I am capturing emails and understanding my clients and being able to reach out to them in more than just one way.
Yeah.
And so, but that's taken time to
Yeah.
learn and
Yeah, it's a
grow it, and
process.
it is a
It's a process.
process.
So what keeps you going, like, through it all, like, through this learning process? What has
Well,
kept
I
you
think that
going?
each of those elements are so exciting. You could either turn them, like we were talking just before we started recording. You can either say, "Oh, this is such a drudge. I have to learn
Mhm.
something new," or "Oh, Instagram changed things again," or
Yeah.
you can be like, "Well, okay, here's another
Here we go.
YouTube. Here I come. I'm going to try to find another tutorial to, you know." And
Yeah.
then I think also what has really helped me as I started out with a life coach from the very beginning.
Mhm.
I've had several over the last few years, and each of them have brought something different to me and helped me get through. And I attribute a lot of breaking through was getting over my mental blocks of,
Yeah.
oh, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough. Or it took me probably the first year to even be able to say that I was a quilt artist. I would
Yeah.
just say I'm a quilter or I'm a maker. Those words sounded so much nicer or not as
Right.
professional. And I had this really big hang up about calling myself an artist because I'm not classically trained. I don't have an art degree. I I don't have a college degree at all. And so I had this kind of weird hang up about that word. And so I worked with my coach for a long
Mhm.
time. And now I say that in all my stuff. I'm a
Yeah.
quilt artist. I'm an artist.
Yes.
And
Yeah, and
it feels so
I
good
was
to
gonna say, how does
say,
that feel to say that?
yeah.
Yeah, it feels so good because it's the truth, and
Yeah.
you finally believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I battle a lot with imposter syndrome, like just
Mhm.
thinking people think I'm a fraud, or people
Yeah.
will think they'll find out that I really don't know what I'm doing.
The truth is none of us know what we're doing.
And I feel like in the last couple of years, I've settled into more of being okay with that. Like it is
Yeah.
okay to say, I don't know how to do something,
Yes.
or I'm not quite up to speed on that or whatever. But then you can either leave it there, or you can go about trying to educate yourself and teaching
Yeah.
yourself how to do, or
Yeah.
learning from other people.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm a real proponent of life coaching and all kind. I think they can just bring so much to all of your whole, being in existence, and helping you carve out a life that you're happy. And even, and that doesn't mean we're happy all the time, but even in the low spots,
Right.
you have the tools to help yourself.
Yeah. Manage our
Um,
minds, right? Just
yes,
really, it's
yes,
mind
yeah,
management. Because I,
totally.
I don't know if your coach said this, but all problems are thought problems.
Oh,
Right?
100%. Yes.
That's
Yeah,
where our problems lie.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
and just
love,
the last couple of weeks, I've been working with so I have a business. Brittany's my business coach, so I have that,
yes.
and then I have a life coach as well. And
Yeah.
we were talking that we named, because I have a pretty loud voice in my head of all the things that just that ticker tape that runs. And
That we
so
all
I
have.
finally decided that she's the mean girl. And so I'm just like, mean girl's never going to go away, but I don't have to listen to her all the
Right.
time.
Yeah.
And just that, it's a it's a big thing. And I think that's true too. Like when I first started like putting my stuff that I was making and stuff online, like it's vulnerable. And
Mhm.
I love the pieces. They're like my babies almost, and
Yeah.
you're like, here's my little piece of art, please be nice.
Be nice to it. No mean comments are allowed.
And for the most part, I mean, it's quilting, like
Yeah.
there's not much you
Not
can really get
controversial.
mean about, but it's
Yeah.
more of the, the hang up inside of yourself, that the in just being uh unsure. And
Yeah. It's
so
uncomfortable, right?
it oh
We put a piece of
yeah,
ourselves out there,
yeah,
and it's very vulnerable. It's
right,
uncomfortable because
right, yeah,
it is unknown. Chances
yeah,
are no one's going to say anything,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah,
the mean girl
yeah,
comes in and warns us that there might be a chance, is
right,
what she
yeah.
does.
But I
Right?
think what has helped me is like I'm pushing through that, and like
Yeah.
pushing into the uncomfortable zones that I've
Mm,
never been before.
yeah.
And it's really exciting and fun.
Yeah.
And the people that I've met, like that's really the cool thing too. It's like I think back, and I I don't even know how many follows I have right now, but I know when I was about to get over 400, I was talking to my daughters and I was like, do you know I have 400 followers on Instagram? Like, I'm kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal.
And it was so exciting, that, oh my gosh, people would want to follow and see what I'm
Yeah.
doing. And
Yeah.
anyway, so it's
I love it.
yeah.
Yeah. So, would you say that's your biggest problem that you find is just that mental, just that?
Yeah, and then my business, like if I'm not sewing, there's nothing getting done. So I'm wearing all the hats. So in
Mm,
right now I'm feeling pushing up kind of a little bit of a growth. I feel like I need to hire someone.
mm,
Um and I'm not exactly sure what they're, what I need help with. And so wearing all the hats, the social media manager, the business manager, getting the billing, bringing in, stuff, talking to clients, setting up clients,
yes.
and then sewing. I got to figure
Yeah.
out when I'm going to sew in
Main
this,
piece of it. This,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
And
that is an
so
interesting.
it's and then but then I hire someone, and then surrendering a little bit of that
That
control of like,
control. Yeah.
the quality control. Like I know pieces that go out, they were touched by me, and I know, not that
Yeah.
I don't make mistakes, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but yeah, just surrendering a little bit of that
Yeah.
piece over. and and then being a good boss, like, that's another hat that you have
Yeah.
to
You
wear,
have to
when
wear.
you start hiring. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Different things to consider, and it's interesting to look at the whole journey though, right? Because this is just part of the natural evolution
yeah,
business, but we hit that spot when we're supposed to hit it.
right, right.
Like I
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wear all the hats in my business right now. So when you said that, I'm like, I totally get it because I'm
yeah,
doing all the things. I edit and do my podcast
yeah,
and I do social media, like all the
yeah,
things. But that's part of my process. That's where I am in the process. And then
yeah,
it just kind of evolves over time. Yeah.
right. Yeah,
When you're ready.
yeah. And then, you know, family and those kinds of responsibilities and also, you know, that's part of the I was thinking the other day, this is part of the beauty of my business is um when, you know, when my grandkids have something, they live about 2 hours away from me. So when they have stuff going on, I can work my business around to where I can be there. Same thing with my husband and farming. You know, we're in the middle of harvest right now, and so it's really busy. And so on Monday, he needed me to drive 3 hours away to go get parts. And so, you know,
To do it.
I put stuff on the back burner, I go do that. And then that means that, you know, a couple late nights quilting, but,
Mhm.
you know,
You
um,
adapt.
you adapt. And I was just thinking about how wonderful that is. You know, if I had my full-time job that I had when the kids were growing up, you work because you have to be there for your boss or whatever. And so an entrepreneurial business like this now in this stage of life is really great.
Yeah, that is a fun part about being your own boss at this stage of life because there are so many parts of our life that add to the richness of it.
Yes.
And it's not just our business,
Yeah.
it's our family, our grandkids,
Mhm.
our other interests, right?
Right.
I get
Yeah.
like to get outside or just
Yeah.
different things that
And I think
allow
also,
for
you know,
that.
you can and the first life coach I had, she really worked with me a lot about this. Is like you can craft your business to look and be however you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, there's not a right
So,
or wrong.
you know, I would say anyone that's interested in starting something new in this season of life is like remember that you're in control of crafting it however, you know, and so if you know, you could turn it into where you're working 70 hours a week if you want to,
Right.
if you let it, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you can also craft it to be a great avenue, a great outlet for creativity. And it just be like a supplement to whatever else you're doing in your life.
Mhm.
It all depends on, you know, your goals, your aspirations, and what you want out of it.
Yeah.
I feel like I keep like wanting to do more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if
Yeah.
I'm actually making more and more and more money, but
I know, I know. That's that is so true. But I think you hit something there. I think when you find something that just resonates with you and brings you joy, you want more of it, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a good sign that it's
Yeah.
you're doing something that's in line with
Yeah.
you. Then your job,
Yeah.
our job is to manage that.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that I love it because I converted our garage to my studio.
Oh, awesome.
And so I wake up and I mean, most days I can't wait to get out there. Like it's
Yeah.
just it's just
It's your happy place.
yeah, it really is. And I never saw this for myself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I call myself kind of the accidental quilter because I never I mean, when I called my mom, who was the seamstress, my mom has passed since, but she was alive when I first started. And when I called her and told her what I was doing, I think she about fell off her chair. She's like, "What? You're
Yeah.
doing what?"
You're doing what?
And then for her to see me, I hadn't started my business yet before she passed, but for her, we got to enjoy quilting a little bit together, and that was
Oh.
really. And then I have a pair of scissors that were hers that I have in my studio that I quilt with every day. Like it's, I think I feel a certain closeness to her in
Mhm.
those um,
Yeah.
places. When I
Yeah.
was buying my long arm, my dad came up to see it and he said, he's like, "Your mom would have loved this." And
Oh,
I said, "Dad, she loves this. Like,
She
I
loves
know,
this.
yeah.
I know she knows. Yeah. Isn't that funny how it came full circle?
Yeah, yeah,
Right? It just came
yeah.
full circle. That's so wonderful. Well, it has been so fun to visit you with
Yeah,
you
this was
and to
great.
learn about you and all you're doing and in this mid-season of life. Yeah.
Right,
So,
right.
do you have anything else that you want to offer someone that is maybe in the same season that's kind of doesn't know what's next or yeah.
I would just say to be open, like, and kind of look at turning a hobby into something else, or expanding on a hobby can be turned into a business. And you don't have to turn it into a business. I mean, you could just expand a hobby, and then just be sure and share it with the world, even if you're not going to make a business. Like, share what you're doing, talk to people about what you're doing, talk to other people that are interested in the same thing. And but don't be afraid to turn something or to start a business at 50. It's
Yeah.
super fun.
Super fun. And that's what I keep telling myself is like in the very beginning, it was like, oh my heck, I don't know how to build a funnel. I don't know how to do a website. I don't even know what to send, how to do an email, right? Like
Right.
all those things. But now, and you touched on this, is just this idea of this is going to be fun. Like
Yeah.
I can't wait to see where everything goes.
Yeah.
This is just fun. And so
Yeah.
every time I sit down to figure something out, it's like, this is going to be interesting to see
Yeah.
how this
Yeah.
works out today.
And I feel like, sometimes it takes me all day to do
Yes.
one little thing that I thought was going to take just an hour or two.
Yes.
And that can be frustrating, but you learn every time, like, and
Yeah.
you just figure out how to do it better the next time. And yeah, I love the business I'm in. And I do work primarily with women, and I love listening and finding other women entrepreneurs and what we can do and how we can change our lives
Yeah.
and just enrich them. And you know when our life doesn't end when our kids leave the nest.
Yes.
It's
It really is a new beginning, really.
really is. And
Yeah.
with my kids, and my husband too, they've all been such great cheerleaders, like, and they're very respectful of my time when I'm needing to work, or and I love that I have them in my corner cheering me
Yeah.
on, and
Yeah.
being supportive, and not thinking, well, this is, you should be with us, or whatever it is. They're finding my excitement is contagious almost, I think.
Yes.
And I hope that I am setting a good example for my daughters and my granddaughters, my grandkids, my boys too.
Mhm.
But, just to say that whenever you want to start something, start it, do it.
I love
It's
that.
scary. I'm not telling you. It's
Yeah.
very scary, but
Yeah.
it's thrilling. And I feel I have a whole new outlook on life, just having something that is totally by me, for me, and because of
Yeah.
me, I guess.
I love that. I love that so much. I often tell people, we kind of have an idea of what life will be like. We have like an intent, like expectation, okay, get married, have kids, do these different life milestones. But the whole last chapters of the book have been ripped out in this
Right.
story. There's nothing there. And I
Yeah.
think many of us hit that point and it's kind of like, oh, here I am. Now what, right?
Right.
But I loved the point you made about being an example to your daughters and your grandkids, like an example of what is possible
Hmm.
and how you can just create joy no matter what stage.
Right.
And the more joy you create, the better off the world is.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
because you're putting that out into the world. When we create beauty, whether
Right.
it's a tangible beauty or not, we are putting that out there and it can't but help the world
Yes. Yeah.
instead of
And I
the
think it has helped me to not focus on the craziness and, all the
Yeah.
things in the world.
Yeah.
And not that I can't get caught up in some of that stuff, but I'm choosing to put my focus on something else and put something uh, positive and
Mhm.
uplifting out into the world.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will then shine back on me.
Yeah. I love it because ultimately that's all we can do,
Yes.
right,
Yeah,
is what we choose to put out. So
that's right.
I love it. I love it. So thank you so much, Jill, for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you hear, I would love it if you would share it with your friends and family and leave me a rating and review. If you'd like to learn more about what life coaching is, please schedule a free discovery call with me where we can work together through something that's causing you a problem. Just go to my website, seasons-coaching.com, and you can also find information about my Seasons of Joy one-on-one coaching program and my Seasons of Joy community. Have a joyful week, and I'll see you next time.